Hey guys, I just got a dozen new arrows and I'm pretty excited to get them prepped for hunting season, even though it's, I don't know, a couple months away. But here's a really quick tip for you that'll help you be able to see your arrow a lot better, especially in low light conditions or, at any point really, and to be able to see where it hits on the deer. This is a fun, quick little tip, and it doesn't take very long to do. Here are the full metal jacket arrows that I already cut and put inserts in. And I'm just going to cut right to the chase. The tip is to remove the stock nock that comes with the arrows and replace it with a white nock. You can see white really well in nature, and especially when you shoot it, you're going to be able to see that almost like it's a lighted nock. It stands out really well, and it'll save you, I think the lighted nocks nowadays are going for like $10 a pop. So just buying some white nocks instead will actually be much better and more cost effective. You'll never have to worry about a light burning out or anything like that. These, since I'm using FMJs, they're using the X nocks. You can see it kind of, if I hold this nock that way, you see a little X on it. But depending on what arrow you're shooting, you're gonna have to look up what nock goes along with it. And another thing I wanted to mention too is be careful if you're using this for 3D shooting, because when you shoot an arrow first and this arrow nock is sitting there in the deer, other people are going to be able to use that very, very easily to be able to aim for. So one thing you might actually want to do is put an arrow or two in your quiver that's maybe a black nock or something like this, where you won't easily be able to see it and you can actually hide your arrow when you're shooting 3D. So that's just another thought. But I'll show you how I actually remove and put the new one in. Because you could just pull it out with pliers, but I've got kind of a trick so that the nock doesn't get all ganked up when you clamp down on it with the pliers. Hopefully you can see it okay, but I've got my arrow here, and instead of just clamping down with the pliers like this, that's going to leave the marks from these little lines in the pliers. It's going to leave those on the arrow, on the actual nock if I clamp down hard. So what I'm going to do is fold over a paper towel that I have right here around that nock when I go to pull it out. That way it's kind of patting it a little bit. Pretty simple solution, but it's worth pointing out to people that I do that, because you might not think of it otherwise. But you can see this nock is in perfect shape now, and you could do the same thing with putting the other one in. So to put the white one in, you can probably just start it with your hand, and that's as far as I can get it pushing with just my hand. So what I'm going to want to do, there's one way you could do it. You could just tip it like this, find a hard surface and really bang it down, jam it against the ground. That's one way of getting it in, but then you might want to straighten it out afterwards. You can either do that once it's on the string or not. But another just really easy way of doing it is to wrap that same piece of paper towel around it. You could always use like a cloth or a face cloth, something like that instead too, if you preferred. But wrap it around it, get a good grip with the pliers, and then kind of twist it in. You'll hear it kind of making that squeaky noise. So it should be all the way in, and I lined it up because I do cock feather up, and there you have it. So when you're shooting in the woods, you're going to be able to see that a heck of a lot better than, let me show you a side by side, than that. You can see how the other one really is just, it's night and day how they stand out. So apparently a bright yellow is supposed to be the brightest possible color that humans see. But next in line to that is basically a white. And that's why the white over here stands out as something that's the brightest and easiest from these to see. And this green, sometimes if you had a lot of light shining on it, it might be able to really shimmer, but in a lot of the dimmer light conditions, it's not really going to glow for you. Whereas this white is definitely going to stand out. So just something to keep in mind as far as the different variations. Here's another example of showing the different nocks. It's actually kind of funny to see the white ones almost washed out in the video because of how bright it is, whereas you can see kind of the definition in the other nocks. Just kind of goes to show that with a different background and different lighting, the white one still comes out as brightest. So there you go. That's a quick tip about making it easier for you to see your arrows and sticking to a bit of a budget, keeping it nice and cheap doing that. Another way, an idea that I've definitely done in the past, related to this, is if you want an arrow wrap, just buy white spray paint and spray paint your arrow nice and light at the top. It's not going to add almost any weight. You're going to be able to touch it up whenever you want, and it gets the same effect as you would paying the $20 or $30 or whatever dollars you pay to buy these fancy wraps and then put new fletchings on them, and the whole deal just doesn't make sense to me. So that's kind of related, but hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, go ahead and like the video down below, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I appreciate you taking a look. Thanks, guys.